So, let's see. I hope we're live. Good evening, everybody. Um, yeah, let's hope that all works because I haven't checked now. So, today I got the exciting news, which had been announced a few days ago, actually, that Dungeon Alchemist brought out their latest release, which is called the Fata Morgana update. And as you know, I do like to fiddle about with Dungeon Alchemist a little bit. Here's a little dungeon I built the other week for Dragonbane for the quick starter, which you can also watch how it went on the my channel, and it went quite well. And especially people liked this sort of camera view here into this final crypt. And they said, "Oh, that looks really cool! Look at that!" And they were very impressed with what Dungeon Alchemist can do. Now I think I'm going to be even more impressed. So let's have a quick look. I tried to copy out the patch notes, and I hope you can read them. The only drawback is now I can't read them. It's small, so I have to pull that up in front of the screen and see whether I can find this. So what have they got? They have now got Steam Workshop support, right? Which means you can publish and share your maps and get new maps, not just from their Discord like before, but also from Steam Workshop, which is really cool. They've got token menus. I haven't tried that out at all yet, any of this. I've just watched a couple of streams. So you can have tokens, including your own Heroforge tokens. And if you put your own Heroforge account in and you have one, you can actually get a few free tokens, and that means you've got little 3D minis, like in Tailspire, for example. There's a new first-person view, which makes things like the shot I was trying to do in the background a lot easier. You don't have to fiddle about with the camera as much. You can also take the point of view of one of the tokens or one of the figures you just put on the map, which is pretty cool. Cinematic mode, again, you can fly through stuff. The scrolling is a bit wobbly. It doesn't lend itself for slow camera pans yet, but hey, I'll take it. Of course, you can also hide the camera, so you've got a camera mode. Not hide the camera, hide the UI, is what I'm trying to say, which will make that a bit easier. You can switch animations off. Hopefully you can read all this stuff. Added hex grid support. So I don't know how that's going to work, whether it's just purely the hex. I don't think it's going to do anything to your building shapes. Yeah, as it says, massively reduced initial loading time. Ooh. Late in the evening, I had a very long day, so sometimes I'll stumble on my own words. So that's what I want to have a look at, and that's what I want to just explore a little bit. And you can come along for the ride, and if you've got any questions, I've got the chat up there. Please do ask. But yeah, let's have a look at this thing. So this is my old map, and as I said, this is the first time I'm putting hands on the Fata Morgana update. I just came home from work. I had to go back out, pick up the daughter and all that sort of stuff. So now let's see what happens. Digital map. We're gonna go to one of the new biomes. I think we're gonna go to the desert. And we'll have it a little bit duney. Shall we start with dunes? Yeah, let's start with dunes. No water, a couple of cacti maybe, Cactus Aguro, dense growth oasis. Let's go for an oasis. And room placement will be at water level, 8. So, as you know, Dungeon Alchemist does a lot of this stuff automatically. It populates your landscapes automatically, and if you put rooms in, it can do that automatically. Ooh, so here you have an oasis. Right, I've seen it in videos before when the guy from Dungeon Alchemist, the community manager, I forget his name, was showing this off. And he was raving about how this looks exactly like the deserts he knows. I think in Arizona he was. For me, the wave pattern is a bit too narrow, if that makes sense. Too stacked, but it looks pretty sweet. Yeah. So think about all your desert campaigns, or maybe even for Dune you could. So we are on the desert, so what can we do? We can have a hovel. Let's put a hovel into the hovel. What does that look like? Just looking at the assets and how that all works. So you've got different wall types, you've got these different windows, which are really more like a trellis. Yeah, you've got stairs going upstairs, we've got a big, I don't even know, oven? Yeah, that's a fireplace. Like a big chimney. Strange placement, but okay. Why not? So that's the hovel. Let's put a laboratory. I think that's the same laboratory as before. Oh yeah, but we've got different styles on it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? the door entrance. Different things hanging on the wall. So it is actually quite different. The windows are different. There's a big copper thing in the middle. And apparently, if you go to the object tool, and you can now select an object and hover it, it should tell you the name of the asset somewhere. So you can recolor it, you can relight it. So for example, I want it greenish. Did that change anything? Maybe that's a bad one because it's copper. But the bottom one, the stone thing, that changes color now, if you see that. But I can't get it. Oh, there we go. Furnace with kettle. That's what it's called. Furnace with kettle. You have to hover over the copy button. That looks pretty good. I like that asset. What's that? A conductor. So if you have two of them, I reckon, yay, you can let sparks fly. How about that? But you can't switch that off yet, the guy was saying. So, yeah, and you can't flip the lever, I think, but you can just turn it around and it looks like it's flipped. So, okay, yeah, I can see some use for that. Maybe you have to play some, what is it called? Yeah, same image. Yeah, that's right. Started with the same image. Hey, Fowlin. Good to see you again. I hope you enjoyed the stream of Dragonbane the other day. It seemed like you did. So, this is Dungeon Alchemist, and it's the latest update I'm having a look at. So, let's go back to the room types we can do. We can have a palace. Shall we build a palace? We can have a palace bath. Let's start with it. If you just drag a room beyond the confines of the landscape, it will add landscape to it. So you don't have to fiddle about with adding any of that. Now this is not populated yet. There's not much in it in this bath. Yeah, I'm going to play that again, Twin Bear. I'm going to play that in German in a few weeks' time, a couple of weeks' time. We can have a hammam. Just hang out then. Oh, the music is a bit too dramatic, isn't it? Oh, well. Oh, look at that. That big portal, and I am hiding it behind this trellis. That looks a bit better. So, this might be a good moment to actually try out this camera mode. So this is the building camera you normally get with Dungeon Alchemist. So you can get to these sort of shots, and then something gets in the way, and it gets annoying. You think, but I want to have a wider shot. And let's see. So camera mode's up here. Cinematic mode. So welcome to cinematic. What can you do? You can take a screenshot. You can record a short video. So I showed you a trick the other month probably about recording a short loop for this sort of thing. So you've got the water flowing and so on. You can put that into Foundry as an animated backdrop. So it says fly around, move. Look at that. Fly around like a first-person shooter. And if I look through that door here, right? Interact, yes. And then you see the next door. Can I go through the wall? No, I have to go over the top. Right, let's go over the top. Yeah, it's probably a little bit motion sickness inducing if you watch too closely, but for a screenshot, this could be quite nifty. So that's a screenshot, and it basically puts it as an image file. You can't see that, I think, onto my drive. So I could use this as a journal illustration. I could just share it on Discord or whatever. Pretty good. And you can do a short video as well. There's very little animated here, but yeah, the flame's animated. So I could record that, loop it, and put it as a backdrop. I'd probably convert it to WebM before you do that in Foundry. So that's that camera mode. Okay. Now I exited that, and it drops me somewhere. Of course, what you can also do is you can go from this mode to top-down with flat walls and top-down with a bit of 3D walls. Yeah, just so you don't know the tool yet. I probably should explain some of the basics here. So let's go back to the tea room. What's the palace tea room? What does that look like? There's no plan to this. I'm just messing it up. Oh, look at that. Big cushions. I like cushions. Yeah, now we've got wooden columns. I'm not quite sure they are a very deserty style. They look more like Greek rather than Moorish or something, but the lamps are... That's cool. And the colors. And of course you can resize these things and mess about with them, but if you want to see that later, ask. Palace throne room. They probably need a bigger throne room, don't they? Oh, very different walls. Remember, you can always resize the walls or recolor them if you don't like them. It seems to be color matching the throne. Let's fly around. You know, this would be a cool throne for something like Conan. I've just been reacquainting myself with a Conan role-playing game as well. And that could be good for, I don't know, a Shemite ruler or maybe a Stygian ruler or something with all the color schemes. Yeah, okay. So, Palace Treasury. Something to plunder. Unless you're my Dragonbane group. They went out of their delve with 2 silver pieces amongst 5 of them. Nothing like this. Right, so look at all the gold and the crates. And what you can also do is you can have these pictures. And if you don't know it yet, you can actually replace what's shown in the picture. So you can put a picture of yourself in there rather than skeleton dude. To scare your players even more in the scene. Or one of the characters. Yeah, good. That's the palace. Now we need to have tents on the other side of the oasis. Oh, I used up all my map. Let's put a tent here. Torch. Alright. Yeah, I see. There's no roof on it. Makes it easier. Tea house tent next door. Population density is a bit high, isn't it? Okay. So again, we've got a gorgeous lantern. Seems to be attached to pretty much nowhere at all. It's magical. Just hovers. And we have a tent shop. Do they mean a shop that is like a tent or a shop where you can buy tent? Just a shop, not a tent shop. Yeah? Or can you? Can you? Close the flap. And you can turn it around. And entrance, but you can't close it. Okay. Just doors you can always close. You can have them here like this one and open or close. Oh no, that's just turned around. That's not a door. Where's a door? When you need a door. Here's a door. You can basically click on here and say, okay, for my screenshot I want it opened or closed. And the nifty thing on this one, again, if you don't know this tool yet, you can actually export this to various VTT formats, and it will do all the walls for you and all the doors for you, and it will do some of the lights for you. So that's the room types. We have all these lovely new doors and arches. They're big enough for you to see, I think. In the desert theme set, including a big vault door. Vault here. Door should pick that one out and put a vault. Can I open? Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, with the other camera mode. For what I'm doing here. Yeah. Not bad. Look at that. No adventurer could resist that, right? The tea, I mean, not the gold. Okay, so that's that. Let's have a look at tokens. Now, what I have done is I haven't linked my account yet, so you get 5 tokens to start off. Right? Characters: Barbarian, Bard, Druid, Paladin, Sorcerer, and Monk. Monsters: a Gnoll, a Kobold, Skeleton, Lizard Folk, and Troll. Now 4 Dragonbane, but I might have to open my other map again and put a skeleton. There you go. And you can slip into the character. So I'm now seeing this as the skeleton. I walk around and can hop. You know, when I first played Doom or something like that, all those years ago, I can't even remember when it was, must have been 90s. That's the sort of stuff I was dreaming of. You could just build this stuff yourself. So you can see the character is now moved. What's the model like? So this is actually via the Heroforge API. And if you are one of those people, which I'm not, who actually buys 3D models, digital models, you can actually use your own models. Yeah, so that could be cool. Especially if you just want to have a little scene. How big is a troll, do we think? Ah, a troll is bigger. Good. NPC. The guard. 7 keeper. Cultist. And an alchemist. Oh, I like the alchemist. Pretty cool outfit. I'll go with my Hexen character. And here you can connect your account, which I won't do right now. You get some of tokens, free tokens. So, tokens you can do. And they're not really tokens, they're minis. What do they look like in the map mode, do we think? Yeah, okay, like top-down tokens. Let me zoom out a bit more. Ah, I'm rotating the carpet instead. Yeah, you could just about recognize that there's a token there. So if you were screen sharing, for example, to show dungeons, you could do that and use a very basic sort of mapping tool, VTT thing, and walk the characters. Okay. The desert theme, is it custom? Well, you can. There are some sets here. Sorry, I only saw that now. There are some different landscape sets. But yeah, I can show you a couple more. There's the sort of canyon type I've seen, and I'm not quite sure how many different terrain. I think I have to do a new map. Let me do a new one. Digital. So dunes was the first one. If you go for Grand Canyon, and we're gonna do different type of cacti. As not flooded, is that right? Canyon, I guess so. Any buildings go on a plateau at the top, middle. This, for example, looks quite is a different type of dip. So the water has improved. That's definitely different. Rippling effect, and you've got the sandstone here. I think that's sandstone. Apologies. Yeah, and you've got different cacti. That's the hover cacti. Again, that's magical. Doesn't even need roots. I'm joking. Of course, you can replace them, move them about. And you've got some tools also to raise and lower terrain. So, for example, if I want this a bit higher, that's quicker as well than it used to be. And flatten it off at the top. Now, you can smooth, well, nice smooth edges, which don't look as good. Or you can clear terrain. That means you're basically taking all the vegetation out. Assets at the top of it. So that's another type of desert. And let's see what we got. File, new map. That was desert. We have Badlands. Let's make them a mesa. Yeah, so here this looks much more rocky. Yeah, so a little more and less sandy. I do like Dungeon Alchemist. It does remind me a little bit of Flowscape. If you ever looked at Flowscape, you can do a 3D island building, scenario building, whatever you want to do with it. Lots of different assets as well. Nice music with it. But the camera controls are quite fiddly, and I think they stopped adding new stuff to it. So if I now put a tent in shop, look at. Yeah, those assets are the same. When you export to the VTT, no, it doesn't take the music with it. The music you're hearing in the background, by the way, is from Dark Fantasy Studios. I just put that over the background. Music doesn't come with it, and any sort of ambient sound effects, I haven't come across this either yet. Yeah, Flowscape is really cool as well. Actually, this tool also has music, if you want to hear that music. Let me just stop my other one in the background. And where is it? Preference. View, Steam Workshop, help. Settings. Music. Oh, I switched the music off at the start in the menu. Not sure I can switch it on from here. But there is music you can actually get. And it's not bad at all. Can't switch it on while I'm in it. Oh well. Sorry, back to my other dramatic music. Actually, let's go for something more chilled. I think. Still Dark Fantasy Studios, this one. And it's just meant to be backdrop anyway. Sounds a bit more chilled, doesn't it? So, yeah, Hovel. We have gone through all the assets, all the different room types. We have looked at a few of these. The tool is great. I mean, if you have any room like this, the Dungeon Alchemist creates a room, first of all, and then fills it with assets that it thinks are sensible. And not all of them will be sensible, and sometimes the placement is really daft. But it is pretty good, and they have added a good number of new assets. So let's say this shop needs to have a treasure chest. Let's have a closer look at it. Fly in. Through the door. You can make some beautiful pictures with it. And then you can interact here. Look at that. It's a mimic, it's a trap. First it spits fire at you, then it stabs you, and then the saw disc comes out and gets you. Saw blade. While you're just having your tagine here on the table next. Pretty cool. So. Yeah, right. Nice little icon. So we looked at that, and if you haven't seen this tool before, I mean, one of the coolest tricks. Changing the lighting for your scene. So you can get really moody stuff, or you can put the whole into night mode. Yeah, or into sunrise mode. And you can reposition the sun anyway. So if you wanted to have it differently, the height of the sun or the light of the sun, you can adjust it here. And if you're living under green sun, why not have it in green? Yeah, very different look. So these filters are just tint filters though. Tokens, yeah, walls. So what do you think? Yeah, useful? Definitely, and it's so quick. If you really just want to say, okay, let's do a new map, and I want to build a quick palace, which is, I don't know, 20 by 20. 20 by 20. And I want it not in the Badlands, but I want it in the... Let's stick with the new assets. In the desert. With a large dune. And we'll have some oasis with it again. With a little bit of an oasis. Water. And water level palace. We get a map. Large dune. An oasis. And we can build our palace. Now the music is a bit loud now. Let me take that back down. That's better. So, build our palace. Rooms, we said. Desert. Palace bath. It's right by water. One. Next to it we need a hammam, where you can meet. And chill. Next to it we need some tea room. On the other side. And you can see how that basically carves out the terrain it needs. So everything, your terrain is all on one level. That's one thing I don't think they've really done yet, is to build multi-level building. You can fool about with structural assets, basically putting them out and then putting another room on top or walls on top. But it's not quite the same. And maybe a tent shop right here under the window. So you would have a serviceable little thing that you could say, okay, you come in here, and there's a little house in the desert by the oasis. And okay, this is all very small, but you could actually do something really quickly and have a serviceable map available to you. So that's what I like about it. Yeah, you could, for Dark Sun, interesting choice. I was just thinking of Dark Suns as well. You could have a crimson tone to it or filter to it. That's absolutely possible. I'm actually really chuffed. I should talk about the channel a little bit. At the beginning of, I don't remember, 2 weeks ago or so, I just had cracked the 400 subscribers level. Which is really nice because 500 actually gives you some community tools where you can put posts up and so on. And that would be really nice to be able to do. So I thought 400, cool. I actually need to do a stream. I just need to say thank you to all the people subscribing, and I haven't done that yet. But since then, I've streamed very little, actually, because I've been dead busy at work. But I streamed the Dragonbane stuff, and that has really taken off as well. So that little trailer I did for the Dragonbane session, that probably got me 10 or 12 new subscribers. I think, time of counting, I think I was at 417 subscribers now. So we are on our way to the 500, and that's really nice. And the German language channel that I started only this year just broke the 50 as well. So it's like two milestones. Just need to get to the 500, and then I'm going to definitely be very happy with it. I'm also going to do a variety of other things. I probably should do something with the channel update. Talking about what's coming up in October. Thank you. And in October, I'm taking part in a few streams. They're mainly sort of Halloween streams and Shocktober and Flocktober, mainly in German. But I'm going to run, probably I'm going to offer at least, maybe myself on my own channel on Dark Orb, a Yellow King RPG. Oh, Yellow King is quite cool as well. Made a couple of videos about that as well. And yeah, especially later half of October, I've got some holiday time coming up. I might schedule another stream, but most of this stuff I'm going to do over the next few weeks is going to be mainly on other streams or co-streaming, including a chat round on games that are not D&D. Yeah, it doesn't have to be D&D, so what alternatives are there? That will be the beginning of October now. Lots of different things going on. It's quite cool to be part of that community and reach out to some other players and streamers. And I am under no illusion that I'm a big channel. Don't get me wrong. It's a tiny channel. Ooh, I think that's new. Mask of Sesu. Put that on the wall to scare. This eye of you, look at that. Doesn't fit on, so I have to switch collisions off. That would be something to see when you come to an oasis, wouldn't it? Put a magic carpet next to it. Okay. If I now go collisions on and I find the asset and handles, I think yeah, that would be something to. Yeah, interesting second little bit there, isn't it? Pupil and then like it's a planet and a moon or something. With a serpentine statue right next to it. Either you light it or you color it. Oh, look, it emits green light now. That's nice. Again, perfect for Conan. Perfect. You can recolor the tint walls. That's also new in this update. I mean, I haven't. Right. How about that? Look at that. Superimpose that skull there with that eye behind it. Complete coincidence that I ended up there, but that's pretty cool, isn't it? That would freak out some players, definitely. And this is where you would want some animation looped if you wanted to use it in Foundry, or I don't even know, does Fantasy Ground do videos these days? I've given up on that a year and a half ago. Grounds, even though I've got the ultimate license. Really disappointed with their Unity of. But it was just a missed opportunity. So I put it down because of collisions back on stone table. Right. Yeah, do you want to have you got any other questions on Dungeon Alchemist? Do you want to see anything else? Seeing as you're my faithful watcher here, Twin Bear. Keeping me company very nicely while I'm just messing about. Yeah, I do like that. The serpentine statue with the lights around it. Ooh. And this tiny little bathtub. That's cute. Isometric No. Again, they were talking about it in the stream, thinking, well, it would be really cool to do it. But isometric, I know some VTTs are managing to do that, especially with some modules and Foundry you can do it, for example. But not that I know of. But it would really lend itself to it. I mean, if you have these lizard folk here running around in it, and it all looks very isometric anyway, in this sort of perspective. You might be able to hack something, but that would be beyond me. But in the big stream, I think it was almost a 3-hour stream they did the other day. Dungeon Alchemists themselves were pondering that. All right. Yeah, I haven't actually Pathfinder 2nd edition. I've just done the starter set for first edition. I've got myself at some point in a humble bundle, so I've got the box here. And then I was playtesting the beginning of the second session, and I just thought, you know what? Life's too short for a system like Pathfinder for me anyway. It's too complex, too crunchy. Too many options. I'd much rather play freestyle stuff like Timberroom, Forbidden Lands, or Dragonbane, or that's sort of more my world. Yeah, Conan is probably the crunchiest I would want to go to. And I am really charmed. I want to do this Conan again. Oh, how about that? Go back in. The eye. Imagine you come to a pond and on a leaf like that, what do you call it? Pond rose. Yeah, Seerose in German. You get an armor standing there. That would make you wonder, wouldn't it? So do you need this tool? I don't think you actually need this tool, especially if you're playing around the table rather than on Foundry. But even in Foundry, there are so many good maps you can get. Do you need it? I think you need it, but it's very enjoyable. Oh, hi Bitha, by the way. I just noticed it was you. Good to see you. How's it going? Big fan of your Foundry work. Not quite how I see the Saurians in Forbidden Lands, though. Yeah, I like this. I like this pretty much. So, anything else you want to see? Shall I make a new map? Start over with a different thing altogether. The update went live at lunchtime, around lunchtime today. So if you have it on Steam, you can just update it and you'll have it. It didn't even take long. It was 174 something gigabyte. No, not gigabyte, megabyte. How much was it? Does it tell me here? Actually, no, it's a bit more. I've got a fast internet connection, so it flies by. 749.6 megabyte update. And I showed the patch notes right at the beginning of this. You can just throw them back on if that's of interest to you. Have a quick read if you want to, while I just get a map sorted in the background. Let's go for another Badlands with dunes, flat. Let's go for no, flat is boring. Mountain with dense growth. No water. So the patch notes, they've got lots of assets, that's the beginning, but patch notes carry on. I think the biggest part of this is the update has actually got the Steam Workshop. So you can share maps and creations on the Steam Workshop and get them from there, which makes it a lot easier than just downloading the DAM file from the Discord. Yeah, a lot more browsable and accessible. So I think that's really going to improve the way people are sharing these. Yeah, so hopefully that was long enough for you to read the patch notes, because they're going to go away again. Oh yeah, okay. So let's modify this terrain a bit and see whether we can make something that you may want to use for an ambush. I'm going to clear some terrain. You can see better what I'm doing along this path. And I'm going to flatten it. The floor level. See it melt away. That's really quite rewarding, you know? Sit here for hours, forget about work and just stuff. Oh, that's your path to this place. Maybe flatten this off a little bit. Or this a bit. This always, as I said in previous streams, really reminds me of the good old Populous. Anybody remember Populous, the game? Was it Bullfrog? I think it was Bullfrog. Where you had to raise and lower with your divine energy islands to protect them or destroy them or build them up, depending. So this could be our little ambush scene. Take the heck out of it. Yeah, you're of the right age. I think you're about my age, Bither. And black and white, that was cool. Got our caravan of people down here. With the bard going first and singing a song and saying speed along with me. So going back in the cinematic mode, which is new. And flying down into the canyon. Yeah, that could be my typical adventuring party. Gosh, I must have been sitting here for a while now. How long has the stream been going? Anybody can see it? I can't. We're timed out. Yeah. I don't think I... Yeah, I can't remember exactly what settings I've got. 36 minutes, that's alright. I still have beer, so I'm still good. As I said, this is my de-stress program. After really rough work day. So, can we put a couple of bandits up on the hill? Do we? I'm gonna throw some stones down. You know, one of the things I always admired at cons and so on is the dioramas, or dioramas, if you of that persuasion, that people make, and I always thought that's so much work and nowhere to put it. And this actually, I wouldn't say it's the same, but probably scratches that. Flatten the top here. My son, when he was little, got a Playmobil Pirates playset. Really cool. I played with it more than he did, I think. So, NPCs. Altus. Alchemist. Offering it. Smaller? Did we have a null? I thought we had a null set. Yeah, there's. So. No, I'm gonna fall him down here. Splat. Ah! He's hopping around a bit. Eight. That'll do. So, and if you now position your camera right, which is easier now with the camera mode, even though I'm currently not in it. Need to go back in it. Floor level. Yeah. I could see myself doing a little bit of storybook with this, a photo novel. Right, it's good to see some of my previous Dungeon Alchemist viewers back as well. I think Play Games Paddy, you watched some of the previous stuff. I remember having a chat with you. Unless there's more than one Paddy playing games. Which is possible. Yeah, so... Bithia, you're good at this sort of stuff, right? Can you just make us an isometric import tool for Foundry? Can you? Come on. Of course you can. Oh, has he got? I'll run away now. Ask him about this. Yeah, the tool is cool. If you actually really want to make quick maps, you probably wouldn't play around as much as I did. But I did stream the other day, probably about an hour or so, where I was making this Riddermount map. And the Riddermount was actually a really nice game session. We streamed that. It was really good fun with people like Paul Watson and his mates, who I play the One Ring with occasionally as well. We had a good laugh. I'm looking forward to doing that again, and I'm going to play that offline as well, so I need to make a good printed map of it. Let me see whether I just reopen that one. The only map I've got here on my shortlist. Because that would be cool to have on the table. But how do you manage that? You reveal a dungeon bit by bit. Do you cut up the rooms and give them a room at a time and say blue tack it to the table? Or do you print it all over and cover it with different bits of paper? Because this here is the one I built. Yeah, you're right. I mean, flat tokens or standees can be really cool. When I made this map here, this camera mode wasn't available. I thought, oh, there's some really good shots to explain stuff. But now, let's have a look what it looks like now. Does anybody remember that? What was the first game that looked exactly like this? Wizard was no wizardry. Oh, I'm disappearing when I do that with my hands. Shouldn't do that. I don't remember what it's called now. D&D style game where you had to run through this sort of corridor and there were lots of opponents. You saw your weapons, left hand, right hand. I can't remember what it's called now. It looks exactly like this. How did you get this screenshot of the sarcophagus? Oh, okay, what you could do previously as well, let me exit this. Oh, always dumps you somewhere off map when you exit this camera mode. Is you just had to be patient and position the camera right. So I think that boom thing, I had opened the door and then I sort of positioned myself as closely as I could to this. I think it was roughly like this, wasn't it? Yeah, that's how I did it. And then from there, I just took a screenshot, which you could do before, just pressing, I think it's F. A screenshot, it saves it as a JPEG and you use that, or you can do screen snipping. You can't export the view like this in 3D yet, but you can get pretty close. Because if I do the screenshot now, so press F, I think it's F. Yeah, F when I'm in this mode. It comes up, you can't see that because I've disabled that and just says, okay, where do you want to save this new screenshot? JPEG. So that's definitely better. And if you see it at the top there, can you see it? Just about. I press R. It now records the video and I can do a sort of pan. And now I have a 6-second video that has the capture with the pan in it. Doesn't make so much sense, but what I've used previously quite successfully is using that with images with a torch, for example. Yeah, and then the torch flickers in your loop. Just make it 1 second loop or 1.5 second loop. It's a small file size, you can put it in Foundry, it looks really cool. Made that with a graveyard scene, and I've made that with a watermill for Wesen when we were playing Summer in December. So, yeah, it's good fun. Smaller resolution. There's somebody saying something about smaller resolution. Yeah, the video seems to be, yeah, not 4K. I don't know what it is, but currently I'm using this tool in 4K. And screenshots and, yeah, videos will be a bit lower, I think. I think the screenshots were 1080. You know what I really would like, and I'm sort of encouraged that they have this here, is this, they've got this integration with the Heroforge token, so there must be an API for the 3D objects. What I would really like if there were a marketplace where you can get different 3D assets, and you basically, between the different 3D VTTs that are coming up, like Menia, I think it's called, or RPG Stories, or this one, or Chronos Builder, and then I think there are a couple of others. So you could share assets. So not everybody would have to say, yes, I'm developing a cyberpunk tile set and I'm developing a sci-fi one. So you would actually be able to share them rather than proprietary. But I'm not sure what the business model would be for the upgrade part. What do you think? Have you looked at Chronos Builder or anything like that, you guys? Or have you kickstarted Menia or The other one I can't remember, RPG Stories. Yeah, I agree. It would be more collaborative for users. But then one of the good things about Dungeon Alchemist at this point is that you can send the DAM file, which is quite small. And because every user has got the same asset base, there's not this problem of loading something in and then saying, oh, this asset is missing and that asset is missing. But imagine being able to take this and say, okay, export to Tabletop Simulator. Yeah? And then it plonks it down as a play set, if you like, in the middle of your Tabletop Simulator. You've got the 3D landscapes, you've got the 3D dungeons. I think that would be really cool. But then, of course, in the middle of it, you should not forget about the role-playing. And by the way, I changed this map a little bit as well, because I reread the scenario and saw that I had put the gates in the wrong place. So, if you want to see, get this DAM file, by the way, if you've got the tool, I shared it, or a link of it on under the video for when I created it. And again, I think under the Dragonbane stream. Right. What did you say about Astral there? I'm not back to... I wanted to check out Astral. Yeah, Astral went dark. It was bought up by Drive-Thru RPG. And Drive-Thru are now partnering with Roll20. So if you were a subscriber to Astral like I was, you actually now got a year free of Roll20 Professional, I think, or Pro, which I'm not going to use, to be honest, because I like Foundry. Astral had one really cool advantage, even though it was a bit clunky. What you could do is you could take a PDF, you could plonk it in as a character sheet, and then you could basically create, as an overlay, you could just create areas where you could press, or data entry fields. So, for example, you could just have a blank basin sheet, which is what I did, and then you had the bubbles for the different conditions. You had things like skills, you could enter the skill, and then if you could create a formula which you put onto that link. If somebody just clicked on the character sheet, it would roll in the chat. So it was really easy to make a character sheet. And I just was coming off Fantasy Grounds at the time. It was almost impossible to do a character sheet. And then went into Foundry, which to make a good character sheet without the simple world building, maybe you need to be somebody like Bither, which I am not. So, yeah, but you're right. Dungeon Alchemist is super quick, absolutely, and what you can do, I mentioned, if you go to File up here, let's say Export, you get these options here, and you can say, okay, what do you want? Do you want it 3D walls? Do you just want flat? Yeah, flat orthographic like this. I normally go for limited perspective. Yeah, or full perspective. You can do the image, you can do Foundry exports, Fantasy Ground Unity export, Roll20 export, Universal VTT export, printing it. And depending on what you choose, so for example, if I went into Foundry and say high quality, 150 dpi, full border, color scheme is there, on or off grid, I would normally do it without. Transparency of the grid and color of the grid. You can then also say what you want to do with the lights. So either you put the lights or you render the lights in an image, so you see like the light area, the lit area, or you can render the lights and export the lighting positions into the VTT. So when it comes up in Foundry, where I've placed the torch on here, you'll have a light. It's not animated, it's just a flat light, but at least it's in the right places. So that's quite cool. And that works with Fantasy Grounds, but I have not kept up with Fantasy Grounds on whether they actually, how dynamic lighting, how that works. And I think in Roll20 for dynamic lighting, you have to be a pro member. Is that right? Do you guys know? The Universal VTT is a format that is starting to come, basically to say, let's have one format that all the tools can export to, and then from there you can get it back into Roll20, etc. One of the proponents of it, I don't think the inventor, but one of the early proponents of this Dungeon Fog. That's where I first came across this universal VTT format for maps. Yeah, which is, yeah, good. Yeah, Bither, but your stuff works. You know, you might not be best graphics designer. Maybe you are, I don't know, but your stuff works. Sorry if I'm commenting on Bithia, by the way. He's commenting on YouTube. So some of you will not see, if you're watching from Twitter, you will not actually be able to see his comments here. So he just said he's not brilliant at making things look good, but he is pretty good at making Foundry character sheets and systems. Which, yeah, you should make a system for me at some point. Yeah, the Yellow King one that's currently on Foundry stinks. It was really, I mean, really poorly designed. It works, but it's really ugly. Anyway, I think I'm going to sign off. It's probably coming up to about 50-minute streams. As much as I enjoy chatting to you guys, I don't think anybody else wants to watch it this way. Bithia makes the effort. Yeah, that's more than I do. Oh, alright, you're also doing stuff on Foundry? Developing? Twin Bear? Or are you a Roll20 developer? By the way, if you are into developing, it's a while ago now, but I posted a video, a chat that I did with Paul Watson and with Philip, who develops the Forbidden Land stuff, and Paul Watson, of course, the alien system that he's taken on. So if you are interested in that sort of stuff, there's a chat somewhere on the channel. And I did record something as well, which was currently still embargoed, if you like. Another interview with Paul, that's all I'm going to say about a product that he. So if you're interested in that, watch out. I'm hoping that after the next Free League announcement, we can actually release that video as well. Because again, months ago. Right. Thank you very much, guys, for sticking with me, for keeping me company. My cat just came in and is asking for food as well, so it's definitely time for me to sign off. If you're interested in more stuff, watch out in October. I'm definitely going to do more, and I'm probably returning to this map as well to play. So leave something in the comments as well. Yeah? Samurai Reibekuchen. I love it. I like that name. Thanks for following. And thanks to all of you. Yeah, if you leave a comment or like, that's the sort of stuff I love about streaming. Community. It's being able to talk to geeks, or even just see their comments. Geeks and nerds and people who like this sort of stuff. Great. Because I'm definitely not making any money from any of my streams, not with 50 subscribers. So, take care everybody, and I'll be seeing you sometime soon. Bye bye now.